Hello again. My name is Pamela Kuther, and I'll be going over today's second module. In this series, again, we will be learning Algebra 1, where we will have a different focus for each week. This week's focus is evaluating expressions, SOL A.1b. Today we will continue practicing evaluating expressions, and we will also talk about the order of operations. Before we get started, you will need your supplies, your interactive notebook or loose leaf paper, pencil or other writing utensil, and the Desmos calculator. Please make sure you have that open because we will need that today as well. Before we continue, here are the answers to yesterday's practice problems. Please take time to check your answers. Before we learn our skill for today, we need to familiarize ourselves with a few vocabulary terms. Please copy the vocabulary term, the illustrations, and definitions into your notebook. There is a definition link next to a few of the terms. We will pause to give you time to copy the information. Now we are ready to look at the instructional video, which will explain our skill for today. Before we start, please open the notes. Copy the notes and fill in the blanks as you watch the video. The video is also linked in the presentation.
Evaluating expression A equals 30 and B equals 10. Since we're going to be given values from A to B, our first step is going to be plugging these values into our given expression. So, anywhere you see a A, write 30, and anywhere you see a B, write 10. That way, all you have left is numbers in your expression. Now that we have all numbers, our second step will be simply to evaluate our expression. We're going to use the order of operations to do this. And if you look, our first step will be to evaluate our power. So, we'll keep everything the same, except at the end, our 10 squared equals 100. Our second step will be to multiply through the halves. So we have 120 plus 100 plus 10. Our last step will be to add everything together. This will give us a value of 10%.
Now that you have learned our skill for today, we will look at some model examples. Please copy and complete the examples in your notebook. Also, please feel free to jot down any information that you hear within the explanation. First, we will look at this example being done by hand. Just a few reminders with the by hand approach. Be sure to first substitute in your values for your variables by simply taking out the variable and replacing it with its numerical value. That will always be given to you. After that, you simplify using the order of operations. Now we will look at how to evaluate these expressions using the Desmos graphing calculator. One thing I want One thing I wanted to point out right here is when your answer turns out to be a decimal, you can always select the fraction button, which is right under the number 1, the square on top of the square. That will change your decimal answer to a fraction. Now it's time for you to try. Please look at the hint. Remember to first replace the variable with the given value, and then you're going to evaluate using the order of operations. If you have a negative number, please place it in parentheses. Let's look at the solutions. Notice here when I plug the numbers in or substitute the numbers in, my negative numbers are in parentheses. That is going to be important because if you don't put your numbers in parentheses, the way you simplify them is different. So you want to make sure you put your numbers in parentheses so that you don't get confused with the negative signs, the subtractions, as well as what to do when you're squaring numbers. Notice that I did the cube root of -8. I got -2. I simplified the -5 squared, which remember, whenever you square a number, it should come out to be positive. And then minus -3 is the same as +3, so I did change that operation. And from there, I performed the addition from left to right. That concludes our lesson for today. During your remaining work time, please complete the practice problems, as well as the online practice. The answers for the practice problems will be in tomorrow's module. Enjoy the rest of your day and stay safe.